Today we're talking to Matty Kosylo, who, along with Matt Gould, is Altrincham's longest serving continuous service player at the football club. 4 seasons now, Matty. You joined the club in the summer of 2020, just after we got promoted on that famous day at York Street against Boston. And it's fair to say it's been a journey.
Yeah, lots of ups, lots of downs personally in terms of the big injury, but just lots of change, and it's been really positive. Obviously coming in, I think it was it the COVID season, the first season. So I didn't really get to experience the fans at Alty, but we did well. We stayed up, and it's gone on from there. Really, obviously progressed the season after signing probably a better calibre of players. And then obviously making the decision to go full time in my 3rd season, and again, it speaks for itself. This year we've progressed on from last year, and we're up in the mix for the playoffs.
You joined Altrincham as a player experienced in the National League because of your time with FC Halifax Town and AFC Fylde, but you certainly settled in very, very quickly. It took you some time to get your first goal. I can remember it at Barnet, and we were losing 1-0 and turned it around. You got the equaliser, and that was a little bit of a millstone around your neck for a while, I think.
Yeah, I was literally speaking about this the other day to Dior, and it sort of weighs on your shoulders when you've gone a while without a goal, even if it's down to certain factors where you might have been injured, or all of a sudden you're thinking, God, I've not scored since September, or I've not scored since here, and it can get in your head, and especially if you keep, I'm a big advocate of speaking positive about yourself, and if you keep mentioning stuff like that, it's going to get in your head even more. But yeah, I felt like I played pretty well that season, but it was the goals that was missing, and I think that comes from having a bit of a torrid time at AFC Fylde. So I feel like the season after was a little bit better in terms of goal return and assists.
Certainly, very popular with the fans from day one.
Yeah, similar to, I've listened to Isaac talk, and he alluded to his intensity and his attitude towards working hard and stuff like that. And I think even as a forward player, I think I'd base a lot of my game around that off the ball. But yeah, getting on the ball in terms of running at players and making them face their own goal and getting fans off the seats and stuff like that. So I'm just glad it's been reciprocated by the fans, and they're happy with what they saw.
And season 2, another good season. More goals came than in season 1. He scored 4 goals against Weymouth, 2 at their place, 2 at the J. Davidson Stadium, and also the famous bouncing bomb goal against Chesterfield.
Yeah, I was watching Stan Collymore that week. No, I'm joking. He did one exactly the same, didn't he, in the Prem? I think it was Tim Flowers, actually. But yeah, no, I think Elliot Osborne still goes on about them too. Flukiest goals ever or something like that, he always says. But I ended up getting double figures, and I felt it was probably just reward for working hard the season before and not quite getting there in terms of what I wanted with goals. But I think it was the gaffer who got onto me, said I weren't shooting enough, I was being too unselfish, and sort of started from then on. I think it was after January. And we went on the run. I think it was Weymouth, Eastleigh, and a few other games, Dagenham, and we was really, really doing well and scoring goals and not conceding, and it was good to be a part of it.
And after that season came the transition from part-time to full-time. So you've seen a lot of changes at the club in the 4 seasons that you've been here.
Yeah, and I've only spoke highly of it, to be honest, because of obviously being at Halifax and then Fylde. Fylde's facilities obviously really good. The chairman's pumped a lot of money into it there, so fair play to him for that. But I think what the club's done, having gone from part-time to full-time, the facilities are really, really good. And all the lads and the staff chip in and make it as good as what we can. So no, it's been really positive in that sense. Obviously they got the little gym. I spent a lot of time in there in that first season. Tough in the winter, tough in the summer because it's hotter than it is in there than it is outside in the summer. and then it's colder in there than it is outside in the winter as well, so it traps everything in. But no, again, like I said, I can't speak highly enough of it. Everyone at the club's pulled in the right direction, the same direction, from board members all the way down to players and volunteers.
And with the move to full-time football, you're obviously looking forward to that as much as everybody. But unfortunately, last season was a complete wipeout for you.
Yeah, gutting. First, well, not my first one, but first one for a long time. First real big injury. It was a surprise because I didn't feel like I'd done it. Well, I didn't feel like I'd done my ACL. Having seen the reaction of lots of other players who've done it. And I think I came in, I did an interview with you, I think, on the first day.
The first day of Altrincham Football Club as a full-time team.
Yeah, and I'm sure I told the gaffer that day or the day before that it was just a knock and I'd be back in a couple of weeks. Had it checked off numerous physios, and they said it was all intact and fine and strong. And then I did a fitness run with Ryan Colclough on the Wednesday, and then got my scan results on the Wednesday night, and it was a full rupture of the ACL. So yeah, mentally it was very tough to accept that and get on with it. And the following 9 months of doing rehab and getting back to where I needed to be was tough, but it's been worth it.
And is it different looking back on that season compared to actually experiencing it at the time?
I think it gave me a different perspective of watching the lads in terms of watching football that way and taking things in that way. It probably made my role a little bit different in terms of it was more getting round the lads, trying to pick them up, trying to give them advice, trying to help them that way and help people develop. And then obviously focusing on myself in terms of doing all the hard work, and there was plenty of sessions where I didn't want to go to the gym after I'd been at the training ground, and I always just told myself that if anything ever does go wrong, it could be because you missed that one session or that one exercise. So I always made sure I'd got everything done, did everything proper, no corners cut, and yeah, it was tough, but like I say, it was worth it, and I've got back to full fitness now.
And is the psychological battle more difficult than the physical battle?
There was times where they're just as bad as each other. I think the first 2 days after surgery, I was asking questions of what are people on about. It's not that tough. It's not that sore. And then the next 10 nights was horrendous. You get minimal hours sleep because it's just like a full heartbeat in the middle of your leg and it's radiating up and down your leg. So yeah, there was certain physical parts that were tough, and obviously it's weird because you're used to your body, and then all of a sudden it's gone through a massive change, invasive surgery, and you're like, it doesn't feel normal, and you're getting told, well, it's not going to feel normal, and you've got to get your head around that. That's probably the bits where that are tough, that where you're used to your own body. But the hard work, I just took it took it in my stride and got through with it.
And we've had a lot of misfortune with ACLs, because you were the first of 4, with Amar Hussain, Liam Brockbank suffering the same injury in December 2022, and then Ollie Crankshaw in just his second appearance at Barnet in September. Yeah,
I remember Brocky coming in off the Astro. He literally got carried in. And they said, we think it's his ACL. And it's just sad because you know what they're going to have to go through. But also, from my perspective, it's helped build a lot of character again. Certain moments help you build that resilience and fight through it. And to be honest, it helps you realise how much you miss football as well. But yeah, Ollie's doing the same now. He's looking really strong 3 months in, I think he is. Amar's done the same, and he's ready to go and get some game time. He's been looking sharp in training. So, yeah, they've all done really well to get back to full fitness. And to be honest, I've not mentioned Brocky, sorry there. He's fitted in as well. He's come into games like he's not been away, to be honest, and he looks sharp in training. So credit to all of them. Hopefully Ollie can get back for the start of next season.
And in terms of this season, you got a full pre-season, and you've shown no issues in terms of the ACL.
No, I was quite adamant when I first had the operation that I wasn't necessarily worried about it being a problem. And to be honest, I wasn't worried about much else when I came back, but the plan was to manage me in terms of game time. And I think because I'd started the season quite well, it sort of turned out a little bit different, and I played a fair amount of games at the start, and it probably caught up me a little bit, having not played for the last 12 months. So that was where the other little injury that kept me out for a couple of months came in, and it was probably an overuse one. So yeah, was really happy with the comeback. But yeah, probably a little bit too much too soon, it seemed, for my body.
And you did have a flying start to the season, terrific goal at Woking and a great assist for Regan Linney in the first away game, and then came on a sub and scored what must be one of the quickest goals ever via substitute of Altrincham Football Club to get us a point at York. Yeah,
obviously I felt good at the time. I felt really strong. Having had the extra 2 months in the off-season to carry on doing my rehab and weight training for my legs and stuff like that. So I went into it feeling really positive and confident. And yeah, to get a goal early in the season was good. And I hope, like you say there, carried that form on the next game. And yeah, it was just really disappointing and a bit of a kick in the teeth to get the injury after those games. And I didn't think it was going to be as long as it was. But yeah, it is what it is.
Now we know if a player doesn't get a proper pre-season, that's very, very difficult to deal with. You did get a proper pre-season, but then you got injured during the season. How difficult is that in comparison?
I think they both probably weigh up their own pros and cons. This one, obviously, the lads, it's the sort of middle of the season, so the lads was flying. By the time I've come back, everyone's match ready, everyone's match fit. They're in the stride, and all of a sudden you've got to try and come back without being able to overtrain and get back to that level, and it's quite tough. And I remember coming on against Rochdale, I think it was my first game back, and it was only like 18 minutes. I felt like I played about 90 minutes. Like during the game, I remember the gaffer shouting to me, "Come on, Cos, move your..." And my legs felt like lead. But they're the things you've got to deal with, and they're the things you've got to crack on with. And if I look after myself off the pitch with other bits and parts of your life, then it'll surely help me on the pitch, and that's what I try to do. So yeah.
So your return to the Shea Stadium this season hasn't gone quite as well as anticipated.
No, 2 visits. To be fair, obviously the first one was really frustrating, and that's why I apologised to Chris Clark on the second game, because it happened to him because of me. So yeah, I was really disappointed in the first one to get taken off, and obviously frustration shown. And then the second time, yeah, I thought the first booking was really harsh. Having watched the footage back, he said I ran over to him a few times, and I'd watched it back and I didn't. But yeah, that was the first yellow, and the second yellow I have no complaints. It was, I think I had 4 or 5 1v1s in the first 5-10 minutes of the second half, and I think I won 2, and then the other 2, I was got caught short, and it is what it is. That's football. So yeah, I've been sent off for doing silly things before, and that wasn't necessarily a silly thing. It's just being competitive and mistiming a tackle. So yeah.
You're very much a heart on the sleeve sort of player, and you got a fairly short fuse.
Yeah, I play on the edge. Always have done. As I seem to get older, it's got a lot better, but people wouldn't think that. But that's who I am. Sometimes it works positive for me, sometimes it works negative for me. But if I changed that and totally took it out of me, I don't think I'd be as competitive. I don't think I'd enjoy football as much, to be honest. So yeah.
Very much like, I think Jordan Hume's been described as the same sort of player in terms of has to get angry to perform his best.
Yeah, well, I think he mentioned on his podcast not long ago he punches himself in the face before he goes out, which is I started laughing, to be fair, but yeah, because to be honest, I say it a lot about myself as well, and he's the same. Totally different off the pitch, but as soon as you go on it, you have to be aggressive, you have to be competitive. Otherwise, other teams will come and eat you up, and that's the way football is.
Now, you're an very experienced National League player. 7 seasons ago, since you started in the National League, I think, with FC Halifax Town. How much has the league changed in those 7 years?
I mean, I think the effect on football from types of football has filtered down all the way through the leagues, even to kids and grassroots football now. The way people want football being played out from the back and stuff like that. I think it's changed a lot that way. Because I think at Halifax, when I was there, it was a little bit of a counter-attacking sort of team. And even the best teams in the division at the time, Leyton Orients, trying to think, your Tranmeres, they could keep the ball, but they was quite direct as well. And they would put you under pressure that way. I think Sutton was really direct when they've gone up as well. But yeah, it's changing that way. I think that's the way it's changing in terms of more and more teams are trying to play out from the back, and the level of the technical side of it is going up consistently because you're being forced to play out from the back. So yeah, I'd say that's the biggest change in my opinion.
And how would you rate this season's team compared with previous seasons? Which is a bit of an unfair question because clearly the first 2 seasons we were part-time and the last season was our first year as a full-time team.
Yeah, I mean, last season I'd probably say people might disagree. There's probably been better individuals at times, but I think this year we're a really good team. All the new signings have fitted in really, really well. People have mentioned it before, the dressing room's close and everyone gets on. But yeah, you've seen in the past players have gone on to higher clubs and had moves, but this season I think we've all got dug in together, and we're all on the same playing field, and I think that's showing in the performances week in, week out.
We've seen the effect of a stronger team ethos in terms of the goals against and the defensive displays, because very similar personnel, but the stats say they're performing much better, and that won't be down to just those individual players, it's the whole team.
It is. There's loads of factors. They're a year older and a year wiser, so it'll be individual development, collective development, having played together for a full season already. The work that we're able to do on the training pitch under Sobs and the gaffer, so that'll be setting in the minds a lot more, because if you're constantly doing something and practicing it, the odds are you're going to get better at it. And yeah, like you say, the next factor is the team as a collective. We're probably working as a team a little bit more, so individuals are under less pressure in certain scenarios or situations, which results in more goals, less goals conceded, less mistakes. So yeah, I think it's a number of things coming all together. And
finally, Matty, it's very, very tight. Not right at the top because Chesterfield are pretty well everybody's favourites to win the league. But you can go into the bottom half of the table, 13th, 14th, and there's teams there that could still achieve the playoffs. Who do you think's most likely to get there in the end?
That's a tough question. Obviously, I really fancy us to be in there at the end of the season. That sounds biased, and it's you play for him, but I do fancy us to be in there. But the thing is, we've got to keep doing what we've been doing. We can't just rest on our laurels. We've had a really tough month, albeit a couple of games have been postponed, so we're going to have to catch them up and play them and get the points that we want from them. But we've got Eastleigh coming up, another tough game. And then after that, I think that would have been no disrespect to the other teams, but that would have been a really tough month in terms of league table positions. So yeah, I fancy us to be in there. Bromley, you'd back, being closest to Chesterfield. I think Oldham are going to make a push. They've just gone above us, I think. But they've hit form at the right time as well, and the calibre of players they've brought in from the leagues above, you'd expect them to be pushing in and around. There's eight or nine teams you can pick. I don't know that it's going to be touch and go for a few. So it'll be an interesting end to the season.
Yeah, including Barnet and Solihull, who have had have wobbled quite a bit at times. Yes, are still in a very, very good position.
Yeah, and that's what a really good start to the season can do for you. Can put you in a really strong position, and maybe you don't want to, but maybe allow you to have them wobbles and still be in with a really great shout of being in there. They've got a few points on us, but I think our form says that once we've had a defeat or a draw, we're likely to pick back up in that third game and not let it carry on and become a consistent. So yeah, I think our form going into the next few games will be key, and hopefully we can stay in and around the playoffs.